first Irish to cross the Atlantic came as early as the 1600s, and they were part of a great European seasonal migration to harvest cod in the seas around Newfoundland, the richest fishing grounds in the world.
We'll rant and we'll roar like true Newfoundlanders. We'll rant and we'll roar on deck and below until we see bottom inside the two sunkers. Went straight through the channel to Toslow we'll go. I'm the son of a sea cook and the cook in a trader. I can dance, I can sing, I can reef the main boom. I handles a jigger and I cuts a big figure whenever I gets in a boat standing room.
Newfoundland is 1.5 times the size of Ireland. It's a wild, rugged place with a jagged coastline of almost 6,000 miles. The interior of the island is for the most part wilderness. The only pieces of arable land lie along the edges of the coves and inlets. The young Irishmen who settled in Newfoundland came from small farming backgrounds, and it was only natural that they chose these sheltered but isolated inlets for their new homes. Professor John Mannion.
Most of these coves along the Cape Shore, for example, initially was settled by a single person, a single man, who would marry a girl either from Ireland or from Newfoundland, a Newfoundland Irish girl, and would start a family, and over the generations these sons and daughters would marry and build up a vast kin group, so that in Point Lands, for example, you would have, after 3 or 4 generations, as many as 25 families of Correens, or Corran, which is the English of that name, by 1940.
Point Lance is the most southern of a string of settlements established by the Irish on what is called the Cape Shore. The cape in question is Cape St. Mary's, and it has been a landmark for generations of fishing folk battling in open boats with icy waters and freezing fog.
Take me back to my western boat. Let me fish off Cape St. Mary's, where the hag downs sail and the foghorns swell, with my friends in the Browns and the Clearys. Let me fish off Cape St. Mary's. Let me sail up Golden Bay, with my oilskins all a-streaming from the thunder squall when I haul my trout, and my old Cape Ann a-gleaming, with my oilskins all a-streaming. Let me view that rugged shore, where the beach is all a-glisten with the capelin spawn, where from dusk to dawn you baiten your trawl.
One of the largest settlements on the Cape Shore, with a population of 600, is Branch. Normally it's a bustling centre of the fishing industry, but this is Sunday morning, and all work is laid aside as the community, which is totally Catholic, is summoned to worship at the wooden church overlooking the harbour and the village. It's their church in every sense. They built it themselves, and it's the focal point of community life in Branch. Newfoundland has had its share of religious differences. When the first Irish came here, the penal laws were strictly applied in what was then a British colony. Priests were hunted. Houses where Mass was celebrated were burned to the ground. But political affiliation is no longer along religious lines. There's close harmony now between the three main religious denominations: Catholic, Anglican, and Nonconformist. From the earliest days of the Irish settlement on the Cape Shore, the priests who ministered to the people were Irish-born. But the Newfoundland Church today is part of the mainstream Canadian Church, and it's now under the care of native-born clergy. However, many Newfoundland priests receive their training at All Hallows College in Dublin. One of these Irish-trained Newfoundlanders is the parish priest on the Cape Shore, Father Charlie Kelly.
Blessed are you, Lord, God of all creation. Through your goodness we have this bread to offer, which earth has given and human hands have made. It will become for each one of us the bread of life. Take this, all of you, and drink from it. This is the cup of my blood, the blood of the new and everlasting covenant. It will be shed for you and for all men, so that sins may be forgiven. Do this in memory of me.
Mr. Linehan, would you come up and give us the recitation, Mr. Tamlin?
All summer long we catch the fish, we clean and dry it too. We cut the hay and spread it out near skies that's clear and blue. We feed the hens and milk the cows, cut forward for the stove. 3 o'clock each morning, we're rowing out the coal.
Nearly every parish in Newfoundland has a yearly open-air function at which funds are raised for the maintenance of the church and the parish hall. It's called a garden party, but actually it seems more like a flageola than a parish bazaar.
I have one more thing to say, that when I die, I hope I go where our good Newpie stay. And when I walk up to the gate, St. Peter won't be shocked. He'd say, just another Newpie, you're welcome to the block.
25 cents a ticket, 4 for $1 now. Guaranteed, maybe what's another one right here, maybe 4 for $1, 25 cents a ticket on the colonnade rooster, and the finest bird in the colonnade.
He's got to leave colonnade.
Hey?
He's got to leave colonnade.
Oh, you got to leave colonnade, and delivered he'll be, delivered. Delivered anywhere to Mary's Bears and John. The Mary's Bears and John. 25 cents a ticket.
As I rode out one morning in the lovely month of June, with my morning cloak around me, tending all my youthful flocks to view, sure I beheld a fair one, and her beauty shone to me so bright. I thought she was Diana, or the evening star that rose the night. Oh, I was much surprised as it been in the forenoon of the day. Her amber locks lay twining as she walked the bank of Sweet Lochie.
I walk down the street, how often do I meet a poor old man whose life is all but woe? Wages for his bent, in his pocket not a cent, and for a leaf he know not where to go. So let us cheer them on, for they won't.
It's on occasions like this that one becomes strikingly aware of the survival of Irish folk customs in this part of Newfoundland. How did it come about?
On the Cape Shore, these people who came out in 1800 settled in these very isolated coves and lived out their lives there, and their sons and daughters and descendants for a century and a half, with very little contact, first of all, with any other ethnic group, even the English, the other major ethnic group in Newfoundland. And this cultural isolation obviously was important, because when you get a group like the Southeast Irish, Waterford and Kilkenny and Wexford women settling there with very little contact with other groups, obviously you're going to get a survival of dialect, language, of superstition, folklore, folk culture. Even their folkways, their material folk culture persists. So all of this was important. That kind of cultural isolation was important.
In Branch, like every other parish in Newfoundland, the annual garden party is the social event of the year. Yet, while he can relax with his people and is fully accepted by them as the son of a local fisherman, Father Kelly is under no illusions about the problems which beset his parish. It has its quota of broken marriages, vandalism, and the consequences of excessive drinking. Unemployment is high, jobs are scarce, and there's a steady drain of young people from the area in search of work in other parts of Newfoundland and mainland Canada. But such worries are forgotten today as young and old come together for a few hours' fun, laughter, and enjoyment.
6-0. This one.
Mary, what did you ever hear about Ireland from the old people?
Well, actually, that's all you ever heard about was Ireland. You know, right from the time I was small. Ireland was just like home, you know?
Yeah.
To the old people it was. The old country.
Yeah. Did they know which part of Ireland they came from?
Oh yeah, they always knew.
What places did they mention?
Passage West in Waterford.
Yes.
You know. Some of them from Cork, but mostly it was the Powers and the Nashes and the Englishes.
Did they ever talk about beliefs and cures and all kinds of things like that? You ever pick
Well,
those
it
up?
wasn't even so much to talk about it when I'm not that old, but you know, when I grew up, they were part of it. They were part of how you cured, you know, your eyes or toothaches or anything. It was always the old cures and old poultices and, you know, and all the songs and especially the songs.
Yes.
You know, and the recitations.
Did you ever hear the folks in Branch talk about where they came from in Ireland?
Yes, I often heard my grandmother tell me, you know, I don't remember offhand where to, but, you know, somewhere over there,
some of our people, something, something to do with the Irish. I haven't heard her telling them when I was a young fella, really young. I haven't heard her telling that.
Did they ever tell stories about Ireland or sing songs about Ireland?
Well, she always sang songs about Ireland, all the time. I remember when I used to be up there small, I used to go up there a lot when I was young, and she used to be always there singing songs, but every song was an Irish song. Every song she sang was Irish.
Are the young people aware of this connection anymore?
I don't know. I think we were the last. Since electricity came and television, they're not as aware. I think the ones in the 20s, we were very much aware, but I think it's only... I think the fact that the folklore people are getting interested and are starting to save it is making the young people interested. But the ones who are 15 and 16, I don't think they know as much as we did. Because we're so many old people, So many old people who spoke so Irish and who always talked about Ireland. And most of them are dead now.
Five years ago, the people of Branch got a government grant and built themselves a swimming pool. It's the first in the Cape Shore and a welcome development. The seas around Newfoundland are too cold for swimming, so this pool provides an opportunity for the children of the area to acquire a skill their parents or grandparents never enjoyed. It's a sign of the times. What's likely to become of the Irishness and the folk traditions of communities such as this?
That's a good question. Personally, I believe that within time, and I think very shortly, the great tradition and the folklore and so on, from a practical point of view of living it and it being expressed in daily living and so on, will be lost. I believe it will be purely an academic study.